Before we even start, I want you to picture something. Not the dramatic scene, not walking in on her with someone else, not the shouting, not the divorce papers. Picture something quieter. You're sitting right next to her, and somehow you've never felt more alone. She's there, physically, but emotionally, she feels miles away. And you can't explain it. That's how it starts. An emotional affair doesn't shatter your world in one loud moment. It dissolves it in silence. It's not a bomb, it's a slow leak. And by the time you realize what's happening, the foundation is already cracked. Let me ask you something most men are afraid to confront. What if the real betrayal isn't her body crossing a line? What if it's her heart choosing someone else long before that? Because here's what nobody tells you. A physical affair can be impulsive, reckless, a bad decision in a weak moment. But an emotional affair, that's sustained attention, that's ongoing investment, that's repeated choice. It's waking up and choosing to message him. It's choosing to share her frustrations with him instead of you. It's choosing to send him the laugh, the selfie, the inside joke. It's choosing to protect that connection, even if it costs the one she vowed to protect. And the most painful part, you feel it happening in real time. You see the way she smiles at her phone, a smile you haven't seen directed at you in months. You notice the way she guards her screen, the way conversations suddenly become private. You hear the change in tone when his name comes up, casual on the surface but charged underneath. When you bring it up, you don't get reassurance. You get dismissed. You're overthinking. You're being insecure. He's just a friend. So now you're not only dealing with distance, you're dealing with self-doubt. You start questioning your instincts. You start monitoring your reactions. You start shrinking your concerns just to avoid being labeled controlling. And while you're fighting to stay calm, she's slowly transferring emotional loyalty. That's what an emotional affair really is, a calculated transfer of intimacy. It's giving another man access to her thoughts, her vulnerabilities, her admiration, the things that once made your bond sacred. It's the gradual outsourcing of connection. And here's the part that hurts the most. You're still trying. You're still showing up, still planning things, still attempting conversations, still hoping it's just a phase. But emotionally, you're no longer the first call. You're no longer the safe space. You're no longer the excitement. You don't feel cheated on yet. You feel replaced. And that confusion is devastating because there's no obvious crime scene, no undeniable proof, just 1,000 subtle shifts that add up to one unbearable truth. Her heart has relocated. By the time a physical boundary is crossed, if it ever is, the emotional migration has already been completed. The attachment has already been rehearsed. The comparison has already been made. And most men don't even realize that the true death of a relationship isn't when she touches another man. It's when she chooses him emotionally over you. That's why this conversation matters. Because emotional betrayal doesn't just break trust, it destabilizes identity. It makes a man question his judgment, his value, his reality. It traps him in a space where he feels crazy for noticing patterns that are painfully real. In this deep analysis, we're going to unpack what's actually happening beneath the surface. We'll dissect the psychological patterns, the subtle behavioral tells, the language shifts, the energy changes, and the precise moment a harmless friend quietly becomes a proxy partner. If you've felt that quiet shift, if you've sensed her attention drifting but couldn't articulate why, if you've been told you're imagining things when your gut is screaming otherwise, stay with me. Because once you understand the mechanics of emotional betrayal, once you see how it unfolds step by step, you will never confuse distance for innocence again. And more importantly, You'll know exactly when the heart has left the house long before the body ever does. I'm not here to argue with the world about what a real man is. I'm here for the men who are quietly trying to get their lives together, the ones rebuilding, the ones learning discipline the hard way, the ones who got knocked down and decided to stand back up. If you're working on yourself, even if nobody sees it, this channel is for you. Subscribe if you're serious about growth. Leave a comment so I know you're here. No noise, no hype, just men doing the work. The first fundamental truth you must grasp is that the mind is the gateway to the body. Behavioral observations suggest that for a woman to engage in a physical act, there is usually a preceding emotional devaluation of her current partner. This is why the emotional affair is so insidious. It is the softening of the target. While you are working to provide, paying the bills, and maintaining the infrastructure of her life, she is building a digital sanctuary with someone else. Psychological patterns show that she will begin to share her unmet needs with the other man, needs she hasn't even mentioned to you. This creates a shared secret that acts like a drug. Every message sent is a hit of dopamine that bypasses the safety of the marriage. You are the victim of intimacy redirection when she uses the security you provide to fuel the excitement she feels for him. We must also analyze the myth of the platonic friend. Behavioral patterns show that in the context of an emotional affair, the woman will often use the label of friend as a psychological cloak. This allows her to engage in partner-level intimacy while maintaining plausible deniability. If you confront her, she uses the insecurity card. She tells you that you are controlling or that you don't trust her. This is a classic defensive pivot. Psychological observations suggest that the moment she has to defend a friendship against the comfort of her husband, the friendship has already crossed into a betrayal zone. The friend isn't a friend, he is an auditioner for your role. You are the victim of linguistic camouflage when she uses the word friendship to describe a pre-physical audition. Let's look at the path of Silas. Silas was a man who believed in being modern and understanding. When his wife Elena started talking constantly about a new coworker who really got her sense of humor, Silas didn't want to be the jealous husband. He allowed Elena to stay up late, venting to this man about her stress. He allowed them to go to business lunches that turned into 3-hour deep dive conversations. Silas even apologized to Elena for being too busy with work when she complained that he wasn't as emotionally available as her coworker. Silas is the loser in our story because he participated in the financing of his own replacement. Because he didn't want to look weak or controlling, he ignored his gut instinct. He watched as Elena's emotional battery was charged by another man and drained by you. By the time Silas found the messages where Elena was telling this man, "I wish my husband understood me like you do," the marriage was already a hollow shell. Silas lost because he accepted the emotional infidelity as harmless, not realizing that you cannot protect a house if you allow a stranger to rearrange the furniture while you're asleep. He ended up divorced, paying alimony to a woman who moved in with the friend 3 weeks after the papers were signed. He was a victim of institutionalized naivety. The second major difference is the depth of the narrative. Behavioral observations suggest that a physical betrayal is often about the act, but an emotional betrayal is about the story. In a physical affair, she might feel guilt, but in an emotional affair, she feels justified. She creates a new reality where you are the problem and the other man is the solution. Psychological patterns show that she will begin to rewrite the history of your marriage to fit this new narrative. She will tell herself and him that you were always cold, always distant, or never there for her. This is cognitive restructuring. It allows her to betray you without feeling like a bad person. You are the victim of historical erasure when she treats your 10 years of loyalty like a prison sentence she finally escaped. Furthermore, we must address the resource drain.
Behavioral patterns show that emotional energy is a zero-sum game. A person only has a certain amount of deep interest to give. When she is investing her curiosity, her humor, and her vulnerability into the other man, she has nothing left for you. You get the leftovers. You get the tired version, the irritable version, and the silent version. Psychological observations suggest that the dead bedroom often begins in the living room with a smartphone. If her mind is with him, her body will feel repulsed by your touch because she feels like she is cheating on the other man with her own husband. You are the victim of intimacy displacement when you are the legal partner, but he is the emotional priority. You have to understand that the emotional affair is the construction of the bridge. The physical betrayal is simply the crossing of it. If you catch her on the bridge, she will tell you she was just looking at the view. But behavioral observations suggest that nobody builds a bridge unless they intend to get to the other side. She refuses to take accountability for the emotional affair because she hasn't crossed yet, but in her heart, she has already packed her bags. You are better off standing on solid ground alone than trying to hold on to a woman who is halfway across a bridge to someone else. The third difference is the power of the secret. Behavioral observations show that secret sharing creates an intense bonding effect that is often stronger than physical attraction. When she tells him something about her childhood or her fears that she never told you, she is creating a sacred space that excludes you. Psychological patterns show that this exclusivity makes the affair feel noble or destined. She isn't cheating, she is finding her soulmate. This is romantic delusion. It is a protection mechanism that allows her to bypass her moral compass. You are the victim of excluded intimacy when the woman you are providing for is gifting her true self to a man who hasn't earned it. Most men stay in the confusion because they think they need proof of the physical to justify leaving. But behavioral patterns suggest that if the emotional loyalty is gone, the marriage is already dead. You are fighting for a body that is just an empty vessel. You focus on the did she or didn't she question, but the real question is, does she respect me enough to keep her heart at home? If the answer is no, then the act is just a formality. You are the victim of legalistic denial when you stay with a woman who hates you in her mind just because she hasn't slept with him in her bed. I don't make content for the average mindset. I make it for the man who holds himself accountable, the one who can say no to distractions, not because someone told him to, but because he decided to. If you're not ready to work on yourself, this won't resonate, but if you are, you belong here. Most people watch and move on. If you're different, subscribe and comment. Show yourself you're serious. The fourth major difference is the erosion of the shared future. Behavioral observations suggest that in a physical betrayal, the woman may still want to stay in the marriage because her heart is still somewhat attached to the history you built. But in an emotional affair, she is actively auditioning a new future. Psychological patterns show that she will stop talking about 10 years from now with you. She stops planning vacations, renovations, or retirement. This is because in her mind, she is already moving out. She is using your time and money to stabilize her transitionary period. You are the victim of transitionary funding when you are paying for the life of a woman who is mentally browsing the market for your successor. We must also look at the fifth difference, the biological repulsion of the provider. Behavioral patterns show that a woman in an emotional affair will treat her phone like a high-security vault. Psychological observations suggest that she will use privacy as a sword to keep you at bay. She will tell you that everyone has a right to their own thoughts, but in a covenant,
privacy is for surprise parties, not for secret relationships. This is strategic isolation. She is isolating you from the truth so she can maintain the benefits of your provision. You are the victim of digital gaslighting when she makes you feel unstable for noticing that she is living a second life in the palm of her hand. Furthermore, consider the metabolism of the justified lie. Behavioral observations show that the emotional cheater is often more arrogant than the physical cheater. Because she hasn't slept with him, she believes she is still good. This moral high ground allows her to be cruel to you. Psychological observations suggest that her self-righteousness is a mask for her betrayal. She refuses to see the damage she is doing because she is addicted to the validation of the other man. You are the victim of sanctimonious deception when she uses her technical virginity in the affair sense to justify her emotional adultery. The reality is that your time and energy are too sacred to be wasted on a ghost. Behavioral patterns show that authentic connection requires exclusivity of the mind. If she is divided, she is destroyed as a partner. Psychological observations suggest that the healing for a man begins the moment he stops competing with the ghost and starts focusing on the king. You are better off being alone in the light than together in the dark with a woman who is whispering to someone else in the silence. You are currently the guardian of your own peace. A guardian does not allow a traitor to stay in the command center just because they haven't handed over the keys yet. The intent is the action. If her intent is with him, her action has already ruined the foundation. Stop trying to save the structure and start saving the man. I have a smart question for the men who have the mental fortitude to finish this session on the spectrum of betrayal. If you were a gardener and you found a parasite that was slowly sucking the sap out of your prized tree, would you wait for the tree to fall down before you cut the parasite away, or would you act while the roots were still strong? You are the gardener. The parasite is the emotional affair. Stop waiting for the fall. Drop a comment below and tell the Brotherhood, what was the one behavior or one change that made you realize her heart was no longer in the house, and how did you reclaim your frame once you saw the truth? If you are still giving her the benefit of the doubt, what is the one proof you are waiting for? Share your detection wisdom. Your insight might be the flashlight a brother needs to see the snakes in his own garden. Let's build the Council of Sovereign Men together. If you made it all the way to the end, I genuinely appreciate you. That tells me you're not just watching, you're thinking, you're reflecting, you're working on yourself, and you're not alone in that anymore. There's a community here of men choosing growth over excuses. If this message gave you something valuable, subscribe and be a part of it. Leave a comment, I read them, and your voice matters here. Keep doing the work. I'll see you in the next one.